Well, hello, greetings to everyone. We're so happy to be here this morning, and we're excited. We're excited about still talking about how deep is your beauty, but we're switching up the way we're going to come with it today. We're excited for our guest today, and we're going to get started. So, today we will be talking about how deep is your beauty on Leslie's Lessons Learned. And here we go. That ending always gets me. Like I said, welcome to everybody. We're so happy to be here, and we're happy that you are here with us today. Shalom, Sister Linda, uh, Lady Linda. We're just so happy for all those that are joining. And listen, before I even get started, let me just say this. If you could take a moment, hit the like sign, share and subscribe. I know I should wait till later on. I'll probably remember to say it later on, but I want to say, um, do that for us today. We would muchly appreciate it. And I almost forgot my mirror, so I'm going to take a moment and when I look in the mirror, and I thought about something I heard Madeline say, and she was saying that I heard a video, and on the video she was talking about the session. Oh, she was talking about the mirror experience, and she was like, if she knew her, if her cousin, I'm gonna let her tell it better than I am, had knew that her life was worth living, maybe she would be here today. And that was one of the things that kept me going with the mirror, because I was like, I ain't doing that no more, the mirror thing. But the fact that it touched someone else's life, I want you to know. And when you look in your mirror, and if you're looking in your mirror and you're saying, is life worth living? Or if you're laying in your bed saying, is life worth living? And you haven't gotten up yet, I want to encourage you today that when you look in the mirror, I don't want you to say if, I want you to say yes, life is worth living. Because if it wasn't, if it was your time to go, you would have been gone. And we would have been honoring you a different type of way. But we honor the fact that you're here today. And we're so happy that you're here. On Leslie's Lessons Learned, and I'm going to let Minister Wanda talk about her mirror in a minute. On Leslie's Lessons Learned, we talk about so many different areas. We talk about health, we talk about relationship, we talk about faith, we talking about personal growth, which what we're on right now. We just talk about different aspects of life, and our purpose is that you would be in intervene, or that you would be in a place that you would want to continue to live, but to live differently. To know that what you're going through, you don't have to go through it anymore. And that it's a choice that you have to make. Us changing our lives and the way we are is a choice we made. And that the word tells you, you have a choice to live or die. You have a choice to do what's right, and you have a choice not to do what's right. But Yahweh did not leave us comfortless. He left us with someone that can help us. So even in those times of not being or not feeling worth anything, in those times of feeling like is all hope is gone, in those times of feeling like what do I have to live for, all those different aspects of life has already been intentionally covered by the Father. So we're just so grateful to be here today with you. And Minister Wanda, hey,
Hi, good morning.
good morning. Yes. Oh, that's
Hey,
what you said. Oh,
what you want me to do? Tell me what to do. What you want me?
go ahead. You got to do it.
What I'm supposed to do? You want me to look in my mirror? Am I supposed to look in my mirror?
Look in your mirror. Tell
Okay.
us what you see.
This morning when I look in my mirror, um, I am realizing as we speak on this subject one more time that it doesn't matter what's on the outside; it's what's on the inside that really is what I see when I look in my mirror. Because oftentimes I can just stop at what I see and not look deeper. And the truth is really deeper. And so while there are times where I might look in my mirror and think negative, this morning when I look in my mirror, I see a person with a great heart who's willing to give, who is kind, who is loving. And that's what I see when I look in my mirror this morning.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And what do you do?
Oh, well, to some who might
And lead us through our
oh,
Sunday.
okay. For those who don't know me, let me introduce myself. My name is Wanda L. Floyd. I am the owner of the Brains and Beauty Business Academy, where we teach beauty industry professionals and students how to do business better. I'm also the owner of ICD Hair Care Center, which is Inspirational Cuts and Designs Hair Care Center. I'm a licensed cosmetologist, been licensed for 31 years. I am an educator, hair loss practitioner, and I do some things in ministry. And I think it is so befitting this morning because we are still talking about how deep is your beauty. And sometimes we get stuck in the situations that we're involved in. And perhaps maybe life just isn't going the way we think it should. And when we look in the mirror, we might not feel that life is worth living. But I want you to know that this world would be a little bit drab without you. So we have a saying that we say here every time we get together, and it's a life without you, like a world without just simply to look at Miss Leslie and I. Miss Leslie and I have on white. Notice how Madeline's color, the picture, you see our white, but you immediately see Madeline's pop of color. And so if Madeline wasn't there, all you would just see is white.
A
So
white sofa, white blouse.
white blouse, white sofa, white background. Now, what we're saying is a life without your pop of color is like a life without you is like a world without your pop of color. So just in case you can't say it, I'm going to say it for you, and then we're all going to say it together. But I want you to know this morning that a life without you is like a world without color. And I want everybody to say it with me. A life without me,
Me,
is like a world.
it's like a world without color.
And I don't want to live in no drab world, just all white and gray. I want your color. So, girl, guy, get up, smile. We need your color. Miss
We definitely do. Yes. Thank you so much. I love it. I love it. I love it. Your enhancement of it. I was thinking about it. I said, I'm so glad we're not robots. Everybody's the same. We're in the world of robots right now, but they can never be us and they can never replace us. So I'm so glad that we can live a life full of abundance like the Father has says. And I'm so glad today. She's going to get mad at me about what I'm getting ready to say, but it's okay. We want to welcome, and we're so happy to have Esquire with us today, Madeline Smith. I'm so excited that, she tries to be so low key. And I was like, can I put your title? No, you don't need to put my title on. But I want everybody to know that she tries to play low key, but she is actually a lawyer. And because of that, thank you, Miss Madeline Smith Esquire, for being with us today. I'm going to put it out there so everybody knows she's so humble. But today, the other day, Madeline and I was talking, and she was talking about, oh, your show was so timely. I had to do an interview, and it just felt. I was like, oh, you did? Okay. I want you to come on Sunday. She's like, wait, what? Come on in the house and share with us how what you have transpired since the last 2 years how far you've come, with your inner beauty. And it's all about inner beauty. Last week we talked about people being nasty and things like that, but we want to talk because we as a society, as a culture of people, not just a culture of people, as a people get it twisted. Why do I say that? I say that because we look at the outward appearance of people and assume who they are. But that the word never tells us to look at that. It's what's on the inside. And Madeline is such a beautiful person inside and out. And we were so excited for her to be here today. Madeline, tell us a little bit about yourself. Even those secret parts about being a lawyer and all that.
That's just what I do. That is not me, like, who I am. But I am quite simply a millennial trying to figure this thing out and
Mm,
live out my anchor verse and truly understand it on a much deeper understanding of living out my anchor verse daily, but also being so thankful that God answered my prayer. He picked my flower. Um, but now understanding his end, like what he intended for it and the seed that was planted and him watering it. So,
so I like that. He picked your flower, he chose you.
mhm,
Yeah, he chose you. And even through the process of life, you're learning more and more how you were chosen
mhm,
and what he is having for you to do. Now, one thing you said, I think that we all kind of can fall in that category. We're still all trying to totally figure it out. And it's not just the millennials. It's they call us the quiet generation. You got the baby boomers. Yeah, everybody got a name.
mhm,
Everybody got a name. But as long as you here on this earth, you're gonna be you'll learn something, and then there's something else you're gonna have to try to figure out about life and you. So I really like that what you said. And you know, we cannot go through life by ourselves. We cannot do this on our own. So before you get started, a lot of us think as women that we need a man to go through life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm making a point here. There's a lot of men that think they need a wife to go through life. Now, were we created to go through life together? Yes. But if we're by ourselves, we have to figure it out without putting pressure on somebody else to help us figure it out. I hope I'm making sense with this, what I'm saying. It is so important that we understand that, a life without you is like a world without color, that each one of us individually have our own color. We have our own space in, you could say, the puzzle, or we could say, I always like to say, in the middle of a lily is an orchid. We are orchids in the middle of. There's many people out here trying to figure it out, and as long as we go through life, if we figure it out, He's going to take us home. If we got it down packed and all together, and we're gonna be like beam me up. What's it? Beam me up. I can't think of what a Star Trek, and we gonna be beamed up out of here. So it's very important that we understand that we have to figure out life. It's better if we figure it out by ourselves first before we bring someone else into the make of it. And a lot of times what happens is we get married and we're still broken. We haven't figured it out. And then we marry someone else that hasn't figured it out. And then you have a big chaos. And so it's better if we as humans or as individuals begin to work on ourselves before. For some reason in our mind, from little girls up, and I'm not going to say little boys because they probably have the same thing in our minds. We got to have that husband to make everything right. And we end up making mistakes because we're so Yes, Scotty. Thank you. It slipped my mind just as out my mouth. So as we go along and as we're in this process, can we begin to work on ourselves, not waiting or depending on someone else to help us along the way? Well, I think you was going to take your mic off a few minutes ago, Wanda. No. So,
You're doing good. You're doing good.
oh, I think. So, Madeline, as we are here today and we're in a state that or a place that we need to understand what real inner beauty looks like and how you came to the place to understand that you're beautiful anyway. Tell us your story.
Yeah. Well, there was a prayer that was made, right? I was totally broken. And it was, if this ever becomes so widespread, Lord, pick my flower. That was the prayer, not realizing that um, the power of that prayer. And flowers are so beautiful. So, God did the work, as far as giving me my color back. And then it came back more aggressive, not nearly as widespread as what it is now. And just, I remembered that prayer. And then it would be right after remembering the prayer, it's starting to come back more aggressive, that I would receive my anchor verse. And it's the anchor verse that literally continues to water that seed that he had planted, or rather that I had planted, but he knew at some point with free will, either the enemy or you're going to choose me. And it is the anchor verse that continues to, it breathed life back into dry bones. And now it is, after the very first conference, that was all of a sudden, he was like, I want you to know, because it's also Easter weekend, your dry bones, I have breathed life all the way back in. And now it is a new way of living. And see, last week when y'all were talking about having an experience versus an encounter. And that's when I started to have that encounter with God, right? And really sitting with that anchor verse, knowing, just as it says right after verse 4, the holy woman of the past who put their hope in God. And
So where you come where are you coming from? What passage? Where is it?
First
What
Peter.
book?
First Peter chapter 3, verses 3 through 4.
Okay.
Right. And it's putting that hope in God, and really sitting with it so that I can live out this anchor verse and understanding and making sure we don't confuse character with personality, right? Because it talks about a quiet and gentle spirit. And so he's talking about the heart of a person in their soul. And so it's, what is their character? And if we keep going further into First Peter 3, and then we really get into chapter 4, the title is Living for God. So it's taking it even deeper. Once you identify and understand what God defines as beautiful, and you start going deeper into that, now I'm starting to I want to live, I'm living for God. And when we get into the character, what we see, and you can't help but go back to Matthew 3. You have to go, Matthew 5, rather. Matthew 5, verses 3 through 11, in which he talks about character and your beatitudes, right? Because we do see them in First Peter, but that is the only place in the Bible where you see all of them, because elsewhere you may see 2 or 3. So that's where I'm at as far as wanting to live out my anchor verse and understand it daily. Will I, as y'all touched on last week, there are going to be times when, I'm not living this out too well. People will try you, and it's, but when you're in it and it really is in you, or as Miss Wanda said last week, sanctifies you, in those moments, you'll recognize I could have done that differently. I should have done that differently. But it also helps to, it makes you more sensitive. And by sensitive, I mean discerning of the people who you will cross paths with, and recognizing like when that red flag goes up, like, this person isn't, they're not a nice spirit. It makes you a lot more sensitive, and that discernment also begins to rise within you.
So, what made you? Let's go back to the beginning. You kind of brushed over
Oh,
why you ended up at this place and what in your life transpired to even bring you to this place.
well, a lot did transpire as far as so the vitiligo. He gave me. I made that prayer in the 8th grade, looking in the mirror. I couldn't see me. I just saw it. And we all have our it things. And for me, this was it, right? And it was one of those that my vitiligo is loud. It's in your face. I can't hide it. And so I made that prayer. And then he was like, okay, I have to build my child up. He gave me my color back. By the time I graduated high school, I'd regained all my pigment. 4 years later, by the time I'm graduating college, I see a white spot again. And both times, the very first one, and then when he relaunched it around my eyes. And that's also very telling because, see, we see with our eyes. And so I'm like, wow, God, as I sit with that, or as I have sat with that, rather, these, over the years of where it began. And so then it started to become more widespread. And when I look back at pictures, it really wasn't that widespread in comparison to
Mhm.
what it is now today. But the beautiful thing about that, well, let me before I go into that thought, it started to become more widespread, and I remembered that prayer. But then I was like, oh Lord, please, please don't pick my flower, right? Because I wanted him to basically take my life.
Mhm.
And then a good family friend, one of my friends, their mother, Mrs. Pierce, I went to her that Christmas break right after graduating, and I just broke down. And I was like, why would God burden me with this? And she looked and she was like, baby, this isn't a burden. And she opened up her Bible. She went straight to 1 Peter. And she said, she read it out loud. She said, you sit with this. And she said, this is your anchor verse. That was I said, that ain't nobody but God, right? Because I picked my flower not realizing like that was the seed. And he started watering it. And from there, I would always hold on to that and go back to it when I would have those moments of insecurity, low self-esteem, or whatever it was that I was facing, because I was basically doing the enemy's work for him. He
Mm.
didn't have to do anything. I was already tearing myself down. And
So
God,
wait, I can't let you go any further because that right there is a message in itself. A lot of times we are doing his work and he's sitting back and he's enjoying every minute of it because he thinks that he has us right where he wants us. And it seems like we kind of more attracted to the negative side than the positive side. So you said that you were doing his work. Try to just explain that just a little.
so tearing myself down, saying, man, I'm not worthy. I'm ugly. I mean, just all these things, right? Not seeing who God created me to be, not seeing the beauty in myself. And every time God would always send, be it a person, a message to remind me, and then always take me right back to my anchor verse. And I would sit with it, and it started to become it's like it would take over, right? And I would hold on to it and remember it. And all right, God, you it's not my outward appearance. It's a quiet and gentle spirit. Okay, okay. I'm beautiful because this is who you created me to be. And then help me to understand it. And with each, once I got to that, then it was understanding and deconstructing, saying, I am not going to subscribe to the world's standard of beauty, because you know what? That's not what God finds as beautiful. And really sitting with that more and more. And then it
So
was
you
like,
would say that the word brought you life.
it did. It did. It did. And it still does, right? Because now it's having a better understanding of it, right? It helped me to get to that place of um acknowledging my vitiligo. I have it, accepting it. That verse helped me to accept it. And then um AJ in this community and what God was doing, even using my niece um, to fully embrace it. Now I love it. I wear it with the badge of honor, right? This is the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, there are days when, like I said, my vitiligo's loud. It's in your face. And there are days when, you know what? I don't want to be on. I don't want to deal with the stares or that's very natural.
Yeah.
Um, and God will remind me, this is your gift. And I'll remember my verse. And then it's like, okay, I acknowledge how I'm feeling. And then it's like, no, this is my gift. And all right, all confidence. And I just go out and head held high. So,
Yeah. As I always talk about the first conference, we met Madeline and what not the yet was not the yes, it was the I forgot the name of the first
yeah.
conference. It'll come back to me. And we were getting little something to eat. We were staying up there, and this woman bust in the room with this hot pink suit on, stiletto heels, and walked up in there like, "Yeah, I'm here." And we was like, "Oh, okay." And I looked at somebody and said, "I guess we came dressed wrong because she was suited down. She came in there ready." And I'll never forget that. But every time, even at the Yes conference when she spoke, there was such a level of confidence in her. And I really love that about her. I don't see, only thing I see is the heart. Only thing I see is the inner person. And she has she's a gentle spirit. She has a gentle heart. But I know if you mess with her, you got something on your hand also, And but just the fact that she is steady striving to know more about Yahweh. She is steady striving to make her life more beautiful. You said something a little earlier about character and personality.
Mm. Mhm.
And I think that that's something that we all need to understand. Talk a little bit about that.
Your personality, it's how you act, how you feel, like, oh, they're quiet by nature. Oh, they're introvert, or oh, they're extrovert, whatever. Your character, these are your morals. These are your ethical qualities. This is what you do when nobody is around, right? Um, and so that's why I'm like, don't get them confused. Character, like when folks are like, oh, charming, like charm can be, when you're not using it for deceit, just like we touched on, like y'all touched on last week in Proverbs. And so that's personality, but your character, that's who you are. Like this is so deep. And
The
then,
fruits
and
of the
God tells
spirit.
us the character of God. That's what He's within us. That right there is our foundation. And as y'all spoke to last week, we put all these other things on top of that. But those things are weak. You can break through them. And when you get to the root of it and who God created you to be, and you sit with his character and you want to live according to his character and to who he is, you can't help but begin to live for God. And that's what the enemy doesn't want. He doesn't
Right.
want you to know who you are, because he becomes worried. Why? Because of what will come out of you. He doesn't want that. He doesn't
You
want
don't
you.
want that image. And what image are we created in? We're
Mhm.
created and developed in the image of Yahweh Elohim. And that is from the beginning of time in Genesis. That's the first thing he dealt with. He did not want them to continue to rely and depend and have that characteristic of Yahweh. So he was like, did he really say that? Is that what he said? And he does that to us now. When you look in the mirror, and when I say you look in the mirror, and we're talking about going deeper, what do you really see? What is your character saying to you? Are you nice? Are you pleasant, or are you nasty and conniving? And people only see you smiling. So those that don't discern don't see the deeper part of who you are. But
That's
it'll always show up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And I thought about that character versus personality, because a few weeks ago we talked about the power of your words. And sometimes people will say, "Oh, I'm just bold. I'm just direct," and will blame that on, "Oh, that's just my personality. That's how I am. I'm just direct. I just give it to you as it is." No, that's your character. That's your character. That you just say what comes out of your mouth without even considering the other person. I love that so much. Personality versus character. And honestly, the bottom line behind that is that you're mean. You're mean. If you just say, I'm just serious, if you just say what comes out of your mouth and just say, "Well, I'm sorry if you can't take that. I'm just not."
Right.
No, you're selfish and you're mean. That's your character. And so I love that. And I also wanted to say, when you asked him to pick your flower, he did.
He did.
He did. Not the way that you wanted him to. So I have some flowers in front of me. So you literally wanted him to just pick your flower off, pick it
Mhm.
off the vine, or pull it up from the root. And he
Mhm.
didn't do that. He literally picked your flower and
Mhm.
loved on it and
Let it
illuminated it,
blossom.
and made it blossom more and made it glow more, so that, have you ever been like walking by a rose bush or a flower, and then suddenly just one of those flowers catches your attention?
Yeah.
That's what he did for you. That's why I love him so much, because we say some stuff out of our mouths and he's like, "Okay, that ain't what you really want, but let me show you what I can do with what you just said." I,
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, you got a lot of beautiful testimonies. Listen, I'm over here operating, don't have my glasses, so we're gonna keep it moving. Madeline. Um, as I like the story of you and your niece, and I want you to just tell a little bit about that because it helped change your life.
It did. It did. It was several summers back. I was about to go do my light box, and she looked at the box. She looked at me like, "What is that?" And I told her the purpose of the box. Um, and she just looked and she was like, basically, my vitiligo. She's like, "That's what makes you special." And it just stopped me. And I didn't do it. And I was like, "But you wouldn't want your color back?" And she was like, I remember her saying, "I wish I stayed here. That way you wouldn't do it." And it just spoke so much life into me. Like, this is what makes you special. And it's like, yes, This is the gift that keeps on giving. And I do say, different is fun until different is not, right? And in that
Mhm.
moment, different wasn't fun.
Yeah.
And she reminded me of why it is fun, because this is my gift. It's what makes me special. And then later, AJ would remind me, and she said, you got to see life through the lens of your gift. Well, through the lens of my gift is this anchor verse. I got to start to see everything is beautiful. Every circumstance, every person. And it's now looking at the heart posture of a person. And that's why I say, that anchor verse, and when you get into it and what God defines as beautiful, you become more sensitive. You become a lot more sensitive to people and
Yeah.
their character and their heart posture and that discernment.
Yeah. And I love that part because we do go through experiences that help us become more sensitive, to help us come to a place to understand people and what they're going through differently. And
Mhm.
I think that that is a very key thing, is that we understand. A lot of times we think we just going through things to be going through. No, everything that you go through is with a purpose. Everything is for you to understand and know that there's something that in you that he's still working out. Not always have to work it out, but I'm saying that a lot of times he shows us things to show us ourselves and say, okay, this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to change. And becoming our, how deep is your beauty? Becoming more beautiful inside out takes work.
Mhm.
Look, we can put some makeup on and put some lipstick on and going out the door. And how deep is that beauty? Deep enough for people to say, oh, she's so pretty. Yeah, but we got to go deeper.
Mhm.
That's the appearance we want people to see, but that's not the experience we want them to remember.
Right.
We want them to remember the deeper side of us, what's on the inside of
Right.
us. Minister Wanda, what did she say this morning when she looked in the mirror? What were some of the things you said you saw for
Kind,
yourself?
yeah, kind, have a good heart, loving, giving, you know. It like you said, it's like Madeline said, it's the character, that is most important because like we said last week, you see somebody that is just absolutely beautiful in appearance. They clean up well. They put their clothes on and they put themselves together well. And when they walk in the room, they demand attention just because they walked in the room, their presence. Then when they open their mouths, that true character spews out of their mouths. You will see it, that it doesn't matter. We've said it. Man, that's a handsome guy or that's a beautiful woman, but man, they got a jacked up
Nasty attitude.
they got a jacked up character. And I love um Madeline's anchor verse. And I love, like she said, 5 is hers, but 4 and 5 together because it says, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, which
Mhm.
is not corruptible. That heart can't be corruptible. The hidden man of the heart, that heart is what determines even what you look like on the outside.
Mhm.
It's from the inside. That outside doesn't matter if that heart is corruptible. Wow.
Yeah.
I love this morning. I love it so much. You also said that the devil didn't have to do nothing because you was doing it. You was doing the work for him. My
Yeah.
godmom is actually teaching a series now called The Assigned Assassin, which
Mm.
is talking about the enemy, the assigned assassin. And all he has to do is plant the seed and we run with it. We are
Mhm.
assassinating our own self. We're assassinating our own character. We're assassinating the person, the woman, the man that Yahweh has intended us to be with our own mouths. The, we doing it for him. All he got to do is plant one seed and just sit back and watch and just kick his legs back and watch because we do it for him.
Mhm.
We're already killing what Yahweh put on the inside. And I'm so grateful that he had people in your life to help you see what you didn't see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because speaking about that, as you were just talking about us, the assigned assassin, and how quickly we forget God's promises in the process, but we don't forget what the enemy's coming to do. It's almost like we forget how quickly we forget God's word, and we just start doing the work for the devil. And it's like, you lack faith. Where's your hope? Like, so yeah. I don't know why that's what just came to me just in that moment. But
No, that's why he brings back to our remembrance the word, because we are human. We still have the emotional side that we get involved in, that we allow to overtake us and do so many, cause us to be idle. So our thoughts become idle. So when our thoughts become idle, and he sit back and he watches, and we come in agreement with what he's saying and do. That's what happens. We come in an agreement. Adam, Eve came in agreement with what he was telling her. And one thing you said, and it's so true, because even with that statement, he planted the seed. The seed grew. They responded to the seed that he planted. And then when Elohim came on the scene, he never said anything. Eve said something, Adam said something, and the enemy, just like you said, never said a word. And even the father said to him, because you did this, in other words, you know what you did, you know. And he was cursed from the fact that he was, even before then, we can say, he always had discord going on. He had discord going on in heaven. He was going to be the greater God, you know. So discord, we might as well just call him the man with the discord, or the enemy of discord, because that's what he comes to deal. The word said he comes to steal, he comes to, what's it, kill, steal,
and destroy.
and destroy.
We'll keep the enemy's word at the forefront of our mind before we'll keep God's word at the
Yeah,
forefront. It's like we got to go back and get, and it's like, hold on.
the
Come on.
negative part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on. Because we, even if I just suppose Eve had gotten a little bit of the information of what they were supposed to do. As soon as he started talking to her, she forgot all about that.
Mm-hmm.
She forgot all about the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because he was assigned to assassinate, right? And is it not the same with us? We know his word. As soon as he gets to whispering, we quickly forget the promises, as Madeline says. We quickly forget the promises and what he's told us. That's why when Yahweh came to talk to them in the cool of the day, he was like, Adam, where you at? And he's like, yeah, well, I heard you coming, and yeah, and so I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, who you been talking to? Who? I'm sorry. Who you been talking to? Who told you you was naked? Because surely I never even mentioned it, because it wasn't even important. Who you been talking to? And he does the same thing with us if we pay attention. When we get in that mirror and start talking about what we don't like, what we don't have, what has hurt us, why is this happening? Why did that happen? Why do I have to have this? Why do I have to go through this? I don't want to go through this. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way it feels. It hurts. And he's like, who you been talking to? Who told you that? Who told you all of that? But what did I say? And that's why that word has to be hid in our hearts so that we don't sin against him. Because whenever we go against what Yahweh has said, believe it or not, we are sinning.
So This is one I always like to say this. Adam was not dehydrated. Adam was not frozen. What's it called when you're in the cold too long and your limbs start to freeze, numb up and things. He didn't have any of those things. So he didn't have an excuse. Well, because when did he come? In the cool of the day. So he couldn't even use any of those excuses. Well, I was too hot or I was too cold. You know, it might not make sense to anybody else, but that's the kind of things I think about.
He wasn't delirious because
He
it was too
wasn't
hot.
delirious.
It was so hot. I was speaking out. I was talking out of my head. I was delirious, and I
Right.
came out with the hyper something.
Hypothermia.
Yeah, well, you see, I helped. I got the hyper part.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
It wasn't hypothermia because I was freezing, so I'm losing my mind. Then I was still delirious. No, he came in the cool of the day. Where you at? Where you at? I hid because I was naked. Who told you you was? Who you been talking to? What you been doing?
Mhm.
Ah, you went over there and did what I told you not to do, huh?
Yeah. Who
I
did you come in agreement with?
Yeah. Oh, who did you come into agreement with?
Mhm.
Did you come into agreement with my word and what I said about you? Or was you listening to the assigned assassin?
Man, he will mess you up. Because
Ah,
it's like I said to my friend's mother, Mrs. Pierce, I said, why would he burden me with this?
I heard you say that. Yeah.
This is not a burden. Like, but what he gave me and for it to start on my eye and he gives us things and y'all said it, do not despise those small beginnings. He gives us things in forms that will grow us up. And I had to grow with it. And as it became more widespread, I started to grow more into his word, to act like that flower. And as I sat with it, I was like, man, that flower, it's blooming. It's 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 beginning to grow, it's beginning to sprout. And that's for all of us, right? Like it's not a burden. Whatever it is that he's giving you, he has given you. What he's doing is he's growing you up. So
Yeah. So, in other words, we have something to counteract what the enemy is telling us.
absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
have something that has a firm foundation
Hmm.
against what he's trying to make us do. He's be not deceived. He's not marked. We deceive ourselves
Hmm.
when we come into agreement with what the enemy is telling us.
And we know his playbook. It's nothing
It
new.
says
He
it's
does the
not,
same
we are
thing.
not ignorant of the devices of Satan. That's what the word tells us. We're not ignorant. So that means that in our growth pattern, we are being taught his deception. We are being taught how he comes. What it says, he roars like a lion. What's that scripture? Um, um, he comes in like a lion. No, no, no. Let me, um, okay, let me move on. I'll find it. But it says that he's gonna come, he's coming in, full force.
Mhm.
He's coming in head on, but he has no right. He cannot illegally trespass unless we allow him. And when we come into agreement with what he says about us and how we feel about ourselves, that's when he comes in and he becomes more of a voice to us than one that is greater than him. Because Yahweh is greater than him, but we allow the enemy to speak to us. Why? What did David say? I was born in iniquity, shaped in sin, that in my mother's womb, I'm paraphrasing it because I'm chopping it up right now. You know, she conceived me into this world. This world trains us. This world puts us in a place where deception becomes a part of us until we learn the difference. How do we learn the difference? How do we learn how not to be in agreement, how not to be in covenant with the enemy? By learning the word.
Mm-hmm.
One passage, one scripture at a time. It is so important that we understand that the purpose of the Holy Spirit, which we call Ruach, to come into our lives is that He would bring things back to our remembrance. He'll lead us and guide us into all truth. We have to be able to have something or stand on, they say, or we'll fall for anything. And when we fall for what the enemy has, it's because we have allowed him to filtrate what God has put in us. So,
I mean, God already told us. He said, before you were born, I set you apart. And so it's like, okay,
for the foundation
yeah.
of the world, yeah.
His end is our beginning. And he said, we're still here and life is worth living, as we hit on earlier. I haven't made it to that end yet. And there's so much more that will be revealed that he can do. But it's
And he doesn't. And that's the thing. When we get deeper in him, the more he reveals. He says, I'll reveal the secret things. When we come into agreement with him, when we decide to follow his word, not walk after our own ways, but walk after his ways, follow his commandments. I was reading this morning in Second Kings, and it was three things. It was come into covenant, follow his word, and do his commandments. He's given us the blueprint. We have a blueprint if we follow it. If we have a blueprint and we take it to an architect and say, this is what we want, or he draws up a blueprint for us, and then we take it to the builder and the builder begins to build it, and it doesn't look like what the blueprint is, and we go in the home and the home starts falling apart, the screws start coming out the wall, the ceiling starts cracking, and the first thing they want to say is, oh, the house is settling. We don't want our house to settle that way. We want it to be on a firm foundation that when anything comes up against it, we can stand, because that's what the word tells us, that we can stand.
and
So
that's
I'm not trying to talk
oh,
so much. Y'all go ahead. I know y'all got somebody got something to say. I'm gonna be quiet. Try.
well, no, but and we live in such a microwave society, talking about houses and how quickly they put them up. But when God, it takes time, you know, the word and getting that word in you and really like meditating and truly understanding it, that it takes time, and that's how you build that foundation. And we try to move so quickly. Even I have to tell myself, slow down. I'm over here moving quick, and it's, God, where are you? And I'm sitting here looking at you. You going in circles. I need you to slow
Yeah.
down. And so, but yeah, we talk about building that house. He's building you up with that word. That way you can, as Posh said, the word is the only defensive weapon we have.
But if you're not equipped in it, you ain't got nothing. It's just like going to war without training.
Ooh, say that again.
When even when Moses, before Moses was sent back to get the Israelites, he had to go through training. I call it boot camp. He met the Father on the top of the mountain, the burning bush, and he began his training process. I said that was his boot camp. He is not going to allow you to go through anything without equipping
And
you.
then, as AJ said, we go back to sandbox, because every time you level up, we got to go back to sandbox sometimes, right? Because I need you to get this even deeper. And then he'll come in and
Oh,
he gonna test that quiet and gentle spirit. Are you still a quiet and gentle spirit? Because I'm gonna test you in a different way. Like, do you still have that self control? Are you still calm and peaceful? Are you still humble as you level up? So yeah, who
look, there's times that things come and I'm like, oh
Mess that up.
man.
Good. Mess that one up. Okay. I know
Mhm.
that's coming again. But
Yep.
that again, that's to grow us. You
Mhm.
know, every time we miss the mark, God dog it. Okay, I still ain't learned that yet. They still my little smart mouth, as my mama said. That little smart mouth, Wanda. Yeah, you know. And so I'm going to keep being tested. Everything ain't the devil.
No, everything is not.
It ain't. I'm gonna say it one more time and tap the screen. Y'all heard me?
Get that right. Say it
Everything,
again.
everything, everything is not the devil. As Madeline has told us, and I think we all need to say it before we leave here. Pick my flower. That means it's going to be cultivated.
Mhm.
That means he's going to focus on it. He's going to do what's necessary to make sure you grow well in the soil that you're planted in. He's going to water it. He's going to cut the thorns back. He's going to
Mhm.
cut the other flowers back so you have room to grow,
Mhm.
right? And then he will pick you and prune you and plant you in new soil, right? Because that's what the word tells us. But when things come, because he's trying to grow us, as Madeline is telling us, is that it's to make us better. It's so that that heart is not corruptible. That inner man, that inner heart is not corruptible. So that when the sign assassin comes and brings you something, you won't fall for the okey doke. You'll be able to give him right back his word. Like she said, he ain't coming no, he might come different, but it's still the same device. He,
Mhm.
he just came with a pink coat on this time and not that zebra skin coat he had last time. But the character,
The one to get our
right? The
attention.
character is still the same. So we got to recognize the character and then fight with the word.
Yeah.
Madeline, I love you. I just want you to know that, girl.
But that pruning season, ooh, that pruning season, and sometimes I feel like God always pruning at me because I just know He sent. I'm a fire sign, so He put a little extra cayenne with me. So it's, oh Lord, you testing me right now, but it's okay. You
Didn't you
pruning
just
right
cut my thorns back? God dog it. Did they grow back that fast? I could have sworn you just cut my thorns.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. But that's also the beauty of it, right? We have His character, and yes, He sends us with our thorns in the flesh, but that's what helps to keep us humble. That helps to keep us humble. Remember who I created you to be. Remember that you are beautiful. Understand what beauty is, and now let's go deeper with what beauty means according to my word. And as you go further into the chapter, we start, all right, you living for God.
I think we forget that he says he gives us beauty for ashes.
Mhm.
So
That's
that means
right.
some
That's
stuff got
right.
to burn in order to get that beauty. Gives us
Mhm.
beauty for ashes.
And you got to have those hard conversations, even with self, right? In order,
You do.
like that pruning, that internal work, you know, I can, I don't, this isn't, they tried me today, or that was real ugly of me. And having those tough conversations, like, no, that wasn't nice of me, or, this is what the word says, but here, vain is the opposite of humility. And it's like, mm-mm. Having to recognize that as it comes up. And so it's there is finding the beauty even with those thorns in the flesh, because that's just to humble you. So I'm slipping over here. Like,
But let me tell you about them
Come on.
thorns. Them thorns keep a whole lot of stuff away at the same time. You touch a rose bush or a rose stem with them thorns on it, it's gonna make you back
Mhm.
up. So,
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, so he will protect us from hurt, harm, and danger. But like you said, we have to get in his will. Now, James Cleveland came up in my mind, the song, He Took Me and Made Something Beautiful Out of My Life. He took a wrench like me, and showed me love and concern. And by his great, that's what he does for us. He'll make, just like he said, we have to become fearfully and wonderfully made. We have to become
Mhm.
beautiful, you know. So as we go through this process, I want you to understand. My, I'm sorry, my granddaughter's on the other side of the window with a flashlight looking in, waving at me. So we have to understand that um, while we're becoming what he has us to become, that he's also protecting us if we listen and apply what he says. Man, lately he's been telling me to do stuff, just little things. And when I think back, I was like, oh my God, I should have did it when he told me to do it. Or I should have did this when he was telling me to do it. It's so important that we don't, even though we're talking about things that might not be so little, that you understand that it's the little things, just what's my sister, or not even my sister, the word tells us, that spoils the vine. We have to address things that we think are either minute, or things that is like Minister Wanda said in the beginning, oh, that's just me. It's always going to be me and I'm not going to change. Well, you have to address those things as well. Because your character that you say, because you go to church every Sunday, because you go to Bible study every Wednesday, but you never change, there is a problem. You don't just go to church to get a star because you go to church. If you're not in a place that you are growing spiritually, and I'm not talking about a building, I'm talking about your personal life, then there's a problem. There's some things you need to come face to face with and address that you can change to be more and more like him. So, Madeline, thank you for agreeing with coming on today. You had your counterparts of Alicia and Posh doing their thing in the chat there. But I want to thank everybody for being here. I always love when Alicia can come on, and not just Alicia, all of you, when you can come on and share your thoughts, share what you're going through. Uh, I have been getting some rebuttal of things that I said, but it's okay. Trying to correct me with using Yahweh and talking about Yeshua and just diminishing Jesus. No, I'm not doing that. But that's people. People are always going to share their opinion. We don't want you to share your opinion. We want you to share what you've gone through and how you've changed, or how this program has helped you to want to be a better person. So as we leave, we thank you so much, Madeline Smith, Esquire.
Oh, God.
Beautiful sunshine, Esquire.
The
Just sun,
sunshine.
she just sunshine on a cloudy day. She is just beautiful. I promise you, you just illuminate. I say it I said it 2 years ago. I say it today. Girl, you was just sunshine. You are
I appreciate
Never stop smiling.
beautiful.
Never stop smiling. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Listen, if you have not hit the like sign, if you have not shared, and if you have not subscribed, please do so. And hey, Anna, so many I didn't really get to say hi to. Posh, we Right. We want wisdom, not
Everybody got
opinions. I can read it. I can see a little bit. I can see a little
everybody
bit.
got an opinion.
But listen,
We're gonna leave it at that.
keep,
It's all right.
yes,
Oh,
yes, yeah, yeah. So these ladies, one is in Texas, one is in Cali, and they were so kind to join me here on the East Coast today, and I appreciate it so much. And to each and every one of you, I pray that you will continue to have an amazing day and that you would continue to work on yourself because it is imperative that you begin to, the light that shines through you would be the light of Elohim. Why did he create it? He created us that we would be a light for him. So if you need a little polishing or you need to work on something, uh, please do so. Work on yourself. I got to work on myself all the time. My thought pattern, the way I feel about myself, but I always have to work on myself. So never think that you have arrived, because if you've arrived, we shouldn't be here listening to you. You should have gone on to glory already. So please continue to strive to be better. And as we say every week, have an amazing week. Live a life that is pleasing to Yahweh. And until we meet again, God bless
shalom.
you. Shalom.